The DMC DeLorean. It's an interesting car. If interesting means we got it for free and we don't use it in the game. Yeah, we obviously got this with the Solar Pass, and for the most part I've not used the car in game, as we can see. Absolutely struggling to get any speed out of this thing. And you can also see I've only done 4.6 miles in this car since I've got it, but it's crossed my mind. It was a free car in game. I've not used it, I've not played with it. What can we do with the DMC DeLorean? So the thought I've kind of got here, come out to the map, and it's back to the old daily driver category. Now there's one very interesting race we can partake in. It is a time attack. We've obviously spent a lot of time on the docks. What kind of time can we set here? 500 to 600 PR. Another race that's just fairly interesting. It's certainly not that one, that's for Hypercar. The Wild West, which is a 600 RP or 600 PR daily driver race once again. And then there'll be one last race, if I remember correctly, is this one here, putting on an exhibition. There we go, it's a wet race. So I'm thinking, can we then build the DeLorean, make it usable, a competitive daily driver, let's say, across 3 different styles of races, maybe different weather conditions? What can we actually do with the DeLorean? Well, coming into the workshop, the first thing we're going to have to do, we're going to have to throw some money at this thing. It is unbearably slow. And with a max RP, or PR, sorry, that I'm kind of looking at is between 600 and 650. With this starting out as low as it does start out, I feel like we could actually throw everything at this car, still not be at the max PR, and maybe try and have some fun with it. And I'm going to go into this fairly open-minded. I want this car to be good. I want to play with the DeLorean, and I want to see what we can actually do with it. It was a free car after all. We should be excited. And there we go. I threw every performance part at the DeLorean so far, and we were only at 357 PR with a whopping 188 horsepower at a top speed of 138 miles per hour. So I'm pretty confident we're going to be able to throw every possible part at this car and still be under the... oh, we've got 2 different suspension styles. We've got Super Sport and Track. I think that's the first time I have seen track suspension in this game. Up to 440 PR with that now. That's taking me back. I did not expect to see a track suspension. Maybe I have seen it and I just don't look at the names. Who knows? Gearbox is going to be an interesting one. Do I want a long gearbox in this? Not particularly. The gears are already awful as it is. I don't know if we're actually going to have much of a difference with this. I'll go with the short gearbox. It's the gearbox I tend to like most in this race, in this game, sorry, other than the races in Crown Jewel, the races around the map essentially. I do like the short gearbox in this game. I think it tailors well to the way racing is around circuits and sprints. We're going to upgrade everything. We'll put the race chassis onto this one. We'll put race aero onto this, up to 538 PR now. Woohoo! Getting exciting. What else we're going to go with? I'm going to buy both the semi-slicks and the slicks depending on the weather conditions. We may need both tyre compounds for today's video. Let's just quickly pick both of these up. We are still crucially under that 600 PR. 650 is the max I really want to be at. We'll go with everything here. Yeah, let's just pick up that race spec ECU whilst we're here. And we'll head on over to some races with a fully modified, a fully tuned up, not tuned because I've not built a tune for it, a fully modified DeLorean, and see what we can do. So coming into this, using the standard tune, slick tyres, and having to drop the PR slightly to get it back under 600 for on the docks. We've obviously done this race a hell of a lot of times, and I just kind of want to see what kind of time can we put on the leaderboard with the DeLorean. Now, of course, the Audi TT RS is going to wipe the floor with this thing. It will come as no surprise, but it's a challenge nonetheless. Can we make the DeLorean even slightly usable? In through the first corner, the back end, as we can see, is unbelievably lively. Not even trying to do that, the back end just steps out in this under any force essentially. So I'm not filled with a lot of optimism coming around a couple of those first corners. We'll take it around the tight section here. Brakes feel alright actually. As soon as we get the power down again, the back end does want to step out. So there may be a bit of a balance needed if and when we ever come down to tune this car. But as it is right now, it doesn't feel the worst. It doesn't feel as bad as I suspected it was going to feel. However, the glaringly obvious thing we've kind of got to address with that is the Audi TT has completely left me for dust. Yes, it wasn't the cleanest beginning of the race. Nice left-hander there. It wasn't the cleanest start to the race, and I didn't expect to match the Audi TT, but crossing the start-finish line fills me with a little bit of optimism that the DeLorean may be usable. Setting a 1 minute 12.88. Do you know what? It didn't feel the worst in the world, and of course, in typical TDU fashion, the leaderboards aren't working, so I can't even show you a comparison. What I can show you is the previous time I set with the TTRS, 59.39. We got it underneath that 1 minute level. So we're 13 seconds slower than the TTRS. That shouldn't come as a surprise. Then we come into our first competitive race, the Wild West. This is the first chance we can actually go up against the AI here with a bit of conviction and see if the DeLorean can actually be a solid race car. Once again, standard tune, slick tyres, a little bit of auto PR was required to get it back under the 600 level. So we are once again in it with the same build essentially that we were with the last race, and the very last race that we're going to do today is going to be completely maxed out DeLorean. Now this race in particular I wanted to come back to. This was one of the first races I did in the game in the Alpine A110 almost a year ago now, and it was a fairly tricky race at the time with the tight corners. Look at that, Barth absolutely nail it past us. This was a tricky race at the time, a quick introduction to the game with some of these sharp corners and the AI stopping on a dime right in front of us. It did give us a little bit of a challenge, so of course we're going to have to come back here with a DeLorean, Back to the Future kind of style here. I still haven't watched that film for full reference, and just see if we can actually have a decent race with a very poor car. As it is right now, the first competitive race, maybe just down to my level of driving, I don't think it is. The DeLorean's not competitive. Abarth 500s, SLK Mercedes, Audi TTRS, all nailing past us, and now a Mustang GT. The signs aren't good. Now yes, we could maybe tune this car, make it a little bit faster, tailor it to how we want to drive it, absolutely. But I don't hold high expectations that I would ever actually be able to make this thing into a solid race car. Yes, we could probably race a little bit cleaner than what the AI are doing very early here. It looks like that Alpine A110 had an absolute nightmare coming around the tram stops. Can we cut back up the inside of these guys here? It would have been nice to, but we took out the lamppost and then we hit the limiter in first gear. So the writing's probably on the wall very early here. The DeLorean's very unstable and it lacks any form of acceleration and any form of top speed. A 370Z now, leaving us very easily across a very small straight section. We can throw it into the corners much more capably than what the AI can, but as soon as it comes to start laying down the power here, it's so unstable. As soon as it comes to laying down the power, we're just struggling with this DeLorean. It would be a great car if we could actually do things with it. I mean, do we even start to consider we need an engine swap? Do we want to see engine swaps in this game? It's not something I've actually wanted to see so far. But when I come into this car, and let's just say you're an enthusiast of the Back to the Future movies, you can't really use this in any race. We're getting left for dead from everybody. A Lancia Delta Integrale just about to take us as well. We're down to 7th place. Maybe we can hold on to that 6th place if we're nice and tidy around that corner section. We were. But then we stumble when we try to get the foot down. We're going to have to try and hold off this Delta Integrale across the start-finish line. I think we did just hold it. We did go to 6th place. But with a 2 minute 50 on the board and up against the AI, it just shows us that yes, it's a free car, it's fantastic. Well, it's actually not. After all the work I had to do previously with the Lamborghini Diablo, I can't do the same level of work with this DeLorean. It just doesn't have the capabilities to actually be challenging. So coming over to the leaderboards, we can then have some comparisons. 2 minutes and 50 seconds, obviously those top times all the way up at 2:10, 40, 30 seconds quicker than where we were. And in this DeLorean, there we go, 4,087th place on the leaderboard. There's not really much of a comparison we can actually do with this. It's not capable of being a daily driver. So the question begs, as we do come over to putting on an exhibition, the last race for today, do we need another category in this game? I would say yes, we do. I actually think we need a few categories. I think we need muscle car categories, sports car categories. Do we need a classic car category? Is this then a competitor perhaps towards the Jaguar E-Type and cars like that. Do you know, I just think the expansion that this game could have shouldn't be limited to what we have in the game already. Now I know that may sound a bit confusing of a statement, but I feel like the devs have limited themselves to the content that is in the game. Now yes, maybe recently I've been a bit more critical of the game, and quite rightly so, but using a car like the DeLorean, well, realistically I think today's video of all should really highlight that, well, it's not competitive to the modern day cars, the A110, even the Abarth 500, the Audi TT RS. For me, this should perhaps go into a separate category, like up against the 300 SL Mercedes, which would absolutely wipe the floor with this, the Jaguar E-Type, which equally I think would wipe the floor with it. I just feel that a separate category for these kind of cars, maybe a classic car style, would suit this one a lot better. Then if we could actually equalise the level of tuning, the PR restrictions essentially, for a different class, maybe these cars start to become more usable. Now you can see at the bottom of the screen once again, I've still only done 11 miles in this car. Coming into today's video I've done 3 miles. So I've done more miles today in these races to test out the DeLorean than I've done before. Now yes, we're being relatively competitive in this race, a very wet one, where the AI tend to do worse. But it's a struggle nonetheless. Now yep, it is obviously coming to our advantage that the AI don't like racing in the wet, and perhaps we are going to be a little bit quicker. But as soon as we come onto any straight section, once again, I imagine this A110 Alpine's about to pull away from us. We've got a John Cooper Works right behind us, which I imagine is going to be right in our tail coming into this left-hander here, where I'm a little bit tighter this time out. That's not too bad, but yeah, that John Cooper Works closing right in on us. It's just kind of to highlight the fact that I think we need more in this game, which should be blatantly obvious. An obvious statement, I know. But more doesn't have to be as complex as all new cars, this, that and the next thing. It may just be simple adaptations, a new car category towards classic cars. For the most part, this is an unusable car in the game. Struggling to even hold on to a podium position here. I'm going to be lucky to hold on to that podium, but I have. And I want to raise that question with each and every one of you. Is a classic car category something you would like to see in the game? Would that encourage you to drive some of these classic cars more? For me personally it would, because it would give me something else to complete. Would it necessarily mean I'm going to drive the DeLorean? Absolutely not. If it came up against the Jaguar E-Type, I'm taking the E-Type. If it came up against the 300 SL, I would be taking the 300 SL. Yes, it was nice to get this car in the Solar Pass. It's legendary, but it's unusable in this game. Give us your thoughts in the comment section down below, guys. As always, please do smash the like button and consider subscribing. And of course, stay tuned for more updates on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown.